If you've been on YouTube in the past year or so, you might have noticed that video thumbnails keep changing. A video will get uploaded with one teaser image, and then a few hours later the video has a brand new teaser image and maybe even a new title. I've been making videos for nearly a decade, and in that time I too have been known to change my thumbnails in the days and weeks after uploading. You might have even caught me changing thumbnails years after the fact. So what's going on here? Have YouTubers found yet another way to exploit the almighty algorithm? Is YouTube taking advantage of its creators to trick us all into sinking yet more time onto this platform? Are we all just idiots for falling into the same traps we fell into decades ago?
Good guess, but actually no.
Wait, hang on a second, that's not... Did you know that in the very early days of YouTube, there were no custom thumbnails? The platform would pick 3 random frames from a video, and you could choose one of those frames to be the image that all users would see before clicking. When I started out, you had to earn the ability to set custom thumbnails through a verification process. That might actually still be the case. When I uploaded my second video, YouTube picked out this fantastic image as a thumbnail option, and I attribute some of my early success to that automated decision. This method was sensible enough, especially in the early days where this platform was mostly unedited home movie clips and thinly veiled piracy. But while this could generate a perfectly representative thumbnail for most videos, the system had the potential to pick out images that didn't represent the video at all. Eventually the platform would give us custom thumbnails, but that opened the floodgates to clickbait. Clickbaiting creates a bad environment for everybody. Viewers, honest creators, and not least YouTube, who wants to keep us on the platform for as long as possible. They don't want to scare us away with a reputation for lowbrow clickbait. And that's why YouTube now rewards watch time. If a video can both grab your attention and hold your attention for the duration of its runtime, that's an example of the kind of content that YouTube wants on their platform. So they'll promote that video with features like recommendations and ad revenue. This grab and hold strategy is the YouTube metagame right now, and those who can do both are rewarded with proverbial fame and fortune. And that right there is the power creep. The no-effort viral video still exists, but if you want a career in online video, the standards are far higher than they were a decade ago. I would know. I was there. In order to retain your attention, video budgets keep inflating, the scope keeps expanding, runtimes are getting longer. A video kinda has to be excellent to compete with your time in a sea of professionals playing the metagame. But what about the other half of the grab and hold? You can make the most expensive, engaging, life-changing feature-length video on the platform, but nobody is going to see it if they aren't hooked by the title and thumbnail. Doesn't matter if you made your video in 5 minutes or 5 weeks, this rectangle is all the marketing you get. With so much now riding on a single video's success, how do YouTubers know that the thumbnail they're using is doing the video justice? Well, there's this app that Google develops. It's called YouTube Studio. It looks a bit like the other YouTube apps for video and music, but this one is made specially for creators. It lets you upload videos and edit attributes like title, description, tags, monetization features, and yes, it lets you change the video thumbnails. It also lets you read, moderate, and respond to every new comment on every video you've ever made, and it lets you track analytics on a video-by-video basis to a frankly obsessive degree. I could make a whole video just about the YouTube Studio app, but for now all you need to know is that we can track a video's click-through rate. That's the view count of the video measured against the number of times that video was shown to people. If a video's click-through rate is low, that might be an indication that the title and thumbnail aren't grabbing people's attention. This number can be improved by changing the thumbnail, and we can monitor the effects of these changes in real time. When I uploaded my video about the Eddswold neighbours, I gave it this thumbnail. The video initially underperformed, so I quickly threw together this image, and I saw an immediate improvement. I don't know how much the video's success can be owed to the thumbnail, but today I consider it one of the most successful things on my channel.
Nothing beats a Jet 2 holiday, except for me!
For a long time, we YouTubers have wanted some kind of A/B testing feature. We'll design 2 or 3 thumbnails that run with different ideas or execute the same idea differently, and we just had to pick a design that we thought would perform best. That's why last year, YouTube rolled out the Test and Compare feature, which lets YouTubers pick up to 3 thumbnails and pit them against each other to see which one fares best with their audience. Here's an example from my most recent upload, a video that uses a ranking system to talk about different animation styles. This was my original thumbnail. You've got this big, emotive image of Ed wearing a suit, placed against a simplified tier list grid and the video title in big white letters. I love the look of this one, visually speaking, and I like all of the elements individually, though it doesn't really capture the visual breadth of Edward's animation styles. I noticed that views were way down on this video when I first published it, so I decided to run a test and compare with a couple of other designs. Thumbnail 2 was this one here. I took a screenshot from New Year New You that featured an array of art styles, moved the characters down a bit to make way for some text, and edited the background to make all of the important elements pop. This one better represents the video topic, but it does have quite vague text at the top. I was also worried that the lack of a single strong image would make the thumbnail less noticeable. Big faces will probably always be a common trope for a reason. Finally, I threw in this early thumbnail design, which I made before I even wrote the script. This one probably communicates the video genre better than any of the other options, but I didn't think it would be as eye-catching. I threw it in anyways just to see what would happen. And after a day or so, these were the results. As expected, thumbnail 3 performed poorly. The bold, nice-looking thumbnail 1 did well, but thumbnail 2 with the lovely image of the art styles was a clear winner. I guess this eclectic bunch of styles communicated the idea of the video better than words ever could. I consider that video to be a success, and if I'd stuck with the original thumbnail, it might have been a different story. You'll notice that the report measures watch time, not click-through rate. Remember, a video that gets 100 clicks but nobody staying to the end is as good as a dead video to the algorithm. Watch time indicates that people are clicking on the image and staying to watch the video, indicating a thumbnail that's both clickable and representative of the content beneath. Grab and hold. The trouble with test and compare is that you may end up showing a third or more of your viewers a poor thumbnail, lowering your potential view count early on. You may also end up blowing a bunch of decent thumbnail ideas in one go. All of my hot takes thumbnails were very successful, but if I were to reuse any of these images in future designs, I would end up confusing a portion of my audience who'd seen that thumbnail before. Same goes for this image of Ed. I really love it, but I don't think I can really use it again. For that reason, I don't always use the test and compare feature, but for unsure creators, this kind of tool can massively improve a video's long-term performance. There's this long-standing theory, I guess you'd call it a rumor, that when you change a video thumbnail, the YouTube algorithm gives you a little boost. The idea is that it might notice you changing a thumbnail and push that video out to a few more users. By continually changing a thumbnail, you could brute force the video to stay in people's feeds and play the numbers game on that same video forever. Honestly, I'm skeptical. Here's an old video of mine, and here is a graph that represents the total number of times the thumbnail was shown to viewers since it was published. I changed the thumbnail on the 12th of August, and there was no immediate change in the number of impressions. I changed the thumbnail again on the 6th of August, nearly a year later, and again, the numbers show no change in impressions. I also wanted to try something fun with my Tales of Terror video. I uploaded it with this thumbnail, and over the next few days, I changed the text so it looked like Matt was trapped in the thumbnail begging for help. I don't think anyone noticed though, and I didn't see a change in my click-through rate at any point. I wasn't expecting to. Changing a thumbnail to a better image that's more likely to attract watch time means that more people are likely to click on it. If more people click on it and watch it all the way through, it'll be recommended to more people, and I don't think anybody knows this better than the educational YouTuber CGP Grey. In 2023, Grey decided to change up all of his old thumbnails to make the ugly ones pretty and make everything fit with his contemporary brand identity. That year, he was dealing with some health problems that hindered his ability to make videos at his standard rate, and while this project was a large undertaking, he was able to take it on much more easily. What Grey found though was that by improving his old thumbnails to attract new viewers, he was able to keep views up during the year that he needed it most.
Here's an example of what I'm going to call the most effective 10 minutes of my entire career. But it popped into my head. I was like, oh, let me just try something that's kind of clickbaity, but I do think it's legit. The title was, "This Abandoned Shed May Yet Help Destroy the World." And then that video got 4 million views in a week. So it went from 700,000 views to 4.7 million views in like a week. Without a doubt, thumbnails saved my business this year, right? Like in terms of the lack of uploads that I had this year where I was just really unable to do work. But this is the kind of admin work that I could do.
Nobody knows how the YouTube algorithm works, but I am pretty certain that indefinitely iterating on thumbnails will not trick the algorithm into perpetual promotion. But it is absolutely worth experimenting with the tools at your disposal to figure out a strategy that works for you. There's this designer called Dieter Rams. He's very famous. He worked for the German company Braun, and he's responsible for some of my all-time favorite looking product designs.
I just think they're neat.
That's probably a boring opinion, but his influence speaks for itself. In the late 70s, Rams came up with the 10 principles that he felt made good design. Good design is innovative, good design is long-lasting, good design is environmentally friendly. But one of my favorite principles is good design is honest. I feel like there is a deficit of honest design nowadays, especially on the internet. Companies are getting way too comfortable tricking people with dark patterns and false advertising and making decisions for their customers without telling them. I know I'm not alone in thinking that. If you're watching in 2025, the comment section is probably a sea of Clippy profile pictures because we yearn for a time when companies cared about consumer rights. Chatbots might be better than Clippy in a million different ways, but at least Clippy was honest with its intentions. I think Rams's philosophy is something we YouTubers should keep in mind when designing our content and especially our thumbnails. Will a potential viewer feel like they were lied to if they watch this video to the end? Are we intentionally tricking people into watching the same video twice? Or are we keeping the promises we make when we sell a video to the world? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves. I, for one, would prefer if every video thumbnail came to me fully formed. But if this video thumbnail looks different next week, at least now you know why.